Bust it.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Political Platform on WRAPA FM. My name is Amechi Anakwe. It was a historic moment at the National Assembly yesterday at the Senate chambers. Voting on constitutional amendment took place. Mixed feelings. Those craving for devolution of powers were disappointed. The women folk were hugely disappointed. But for the youths, they had some things to smile home about. For the legislators themselves, they enhanced the powers of the legislature while diminishing the powers of the executive. Several reactions you expect. Of course, they're already coming in torrents. The procedure couldn't continue in the House of Representatives due to a faulty electronic voting machine. We hear that they will commence action on it today. Two new ministers were sworn in yesterday by the acting president, Professor Stephen Ochene and Suleiman Hassan from Kogi and Gombe states. Unfortunately, as we speak up till now, controversy already coming up. Portfolios are yet to be assigned to them. Just as the president himself, the substantive president, hosted 6 governors, 2 PDP governors and 4 APC governors in his London residence, Abuja House in London, yesterday. Of course, we have several reactions to that. I'm not alone on this program. My colleagues are joining me. Deborah Bodo is in the studio with me.
Good morning to you out there. There is also a very, very careless development from the federal bureaucracy yesterday, and it has to do with the outcome of the result of 300 directors that sat for examination seeking to be promoted as permanent secretaries in the light of vacancies currently existing in the federal civil service. And very sad enough, only 78 out of 300 passed. 222 directors failed the examination, and the process they are put in place, which is already generating controversy, is now a 3-pronged process. You sit for an examination, then the second stage will also come. You go and sit for an ICT to say whether you are digital compliance, and then the final stage, which will take place today, is the oral interview. And what does this say? Some 5 years ago, I went to Kano, just in my usual trip to Kano, and I had a very long discussion with the late Damasani of Kano, who died a few weeks ago, Maitama Sule. And in the course of our discussion, he said, I have my fears about Nigeria. I said, what is that fear? He said, the fear I have is that we are going to reach a stage in our national life that we will have permanent secretaries who cannot write, talk less of interpreting policy papers, and we're already witnessing it. 222 directors fail exam to be promoted. What kind of bureaucracy are we building?
Of course, if you take a look at examinations at lower levels, the General Certificate of Education, the West African Examination Council Joint Admission and Matriculation, or the University Matriculation Examination now, you see figures that are not quite indeed encouraging. Of course, if you talk about poor quality of personnel in the civil service, you look at the recruitment process. Ujueje is also in the studio with us this morning.
Amechi, I know this may not go down well with some people, but I think that this whole idea of of federal character is responsible for some of these things that we're witnessing today. Yes, every section of the country must be represented, but why don't we do things solely on merit? A situation where JAMB result comes out and one child has to score 250 something and one needs just 100 or even less than 100 to get the same admission. How do exactly? Common entrance, the same thing. Some people need as little as 11, while the other one needs almost 100. Are we really being fair to ourselves? And the two of them grow up in the same institutions, but they go out into the civil service and they have to face the same tasks. I mean, it's obvious that we really can't get it right that way.
I think the thing has to do, it's not the federal character that that we should blame. I have a feeling that federal character, we need it if we are going to promote national unity. But there is no state in this country that doesn't have competent people. It's the recruitment process that I think is faulty.
Okay. Ujama Samuel is also in the studio with me.
Amici, I'm surprised that over 200 directors. How did they get to directors? Because if you look at the exam paper, it's a simple aptitude or day-to-day life tests. That's what it is. It's not a chemistry or physics or mathematics exam that they will say you should come and write. For directors not to be able to pass that simple test, that means we have a problem in our ministries. And on the issue of the National Assembly yesterday against women, I just want to laugh. It's not fair. It is not fair.
Of course,
we hope women should look for options of getting the men to do what they want.
We'll be inviting a women rights activist, Sadatu Madi. We shall be joining her on the phone for her reaction to that development yesterday. But Mustafa Mohammed completes our number.
Thank you, Amechi. When people complain about admission process and competence, that somebody has to get 220 or more points to get admission and another person gets 11. One thing we overlook most times is that go and check who are the godfathers of those who get admission with 11 marks or 12 marks. It's basically the corruption. That does not tell you that in that place where that person that got admission has 11, there were not people who have gotten 200 or 280. In fact, you have people who are also scoring over 280 there. But because they don't have godfathers, those with 11 marks will go. Let me give you a typical example. Professor Iya Abubakar, mathematics professor, former ABU vice chancellor, Professor Jibril Aminu, professor of medicine, former vice chancellor University of Maiduguri, both went to University College Ibadan. They were first-class students, and these were Fulani herdsmen. Yes. They were rearing cows in the village before they got enrolled to school. So we don't have to overlook the issue of corruption. Anybody who will get 11 points and get admission into that school is because he has a corrupt godfather in the ministry. Yes. They press buttons, and then when they go to those schools, they don't make it.
Okay, let's hear from the other side. Let's hear from our listeners. We selected from some mails from our email platform, and we'll share them with you right away.
Hello and welcome to the mail segment. I am Usaitin Yeri.
I am Etenikan Akepu. You're welcome.
We begin with reactions to yesterday's analysis. Safiyanu in Lagos State says, I think this issue of indigents and settlers is an issue the world has gone past. And by now, public media outfits like your platform should not waste time discussing issues like this that only serve the interest of the political elite. I listened attentively to all that your guest said yesterday, and his interest is obvious. He was mainly emphasizing about being politically enslaved because he could not become governor, State House of Assembly member, or given more Senate seats. All through the discussion, he never mentioned of how the so-called indigents can have access to education, healthcare, how agricultural activities could be enhanced, and other developmental issues that are dear to ordinary citizens. His concerns are not about governance, about how they too could get to political office, but about how they too could get to political offices to enslave their people as it is in other states. Please tell him that even if Abuja is accorded a state status, the population of the now so-called settlers is by far larger than his so-called indigent, and so the probability of someone from outside his tribe being governor is still higher. Let us all talk about governance and the quality of people who should lead rather than being indigents or settlers. The mayor of London is not an indigent of the UK, but was elected due to his capability.
And more reactions to yesterday's interview. Andrew Ogboro in Maitama, Abuja is asking, is it after monies have been taken from the oil-rich delta and sunk in the FCT that people should now lay claims as indigents? The massive infrastructure in the capital city alone does not exist in the entire South region. What is the IGR base of the FCT to support this development? What does the FCT contribute to the commonwealth of our country, Nigeria? Is it not enough that the FCT has never been administered by anybody from the southeast or west to reflect the center of unity? We need to correct this anomaly, this agitation. We need to educate the people that the FCT is a Nigerian project and I believe political platform should be the first point for this exercise.
Away from that and now to the activities on the floor of the Senate, Dixon Eka in Abuja says the alteration of the 1999 Constitution as passed by the 8th Senate is remarkable, as the major grey areas of concern in the Constitution were touched. The grant of autonomy to state legislators and the local government, the scrapping of Joint Allocation Committee and State Independent Electoral Commissions, the separation of the office of the Attorney General from the Minister or Commissioner for Justice, as well as the rejection of a bill for state creation and boundary adjustments are all giant steps taken by the Senate in the interest of the masses. While I doubt the independence of our state legislators to give approval to some of these amendments, particularly the local government autonomy, with majority of our governors serving their first tenures, I am calling on our state legislators to show class in this era of change by giving approval to these amendments, which was done in the interest of the masses. Kudos to the Senate.
And wrapping it up for today is this mail from Emeka Mba in Abuja, who writes on the governor's visit to President Muhammadu Buhari in London. He says, as much as this visit by Governors Forum did not go down well with me, because President Buhari could have simply talked to Nigerians via electronic means, I can't help but wonder what the likes of Femi Fani Kayode and Governor Fayoshe, who swore with everything they held sacred that the president was either dead or unconscious or on life support, and even claimed to have photographs to back up their claims. I wonder what they will come up with now. I think leaders should guard their utterances and exercise caution and decorum as they play politics. I also advise the media to take it easy in helping them disseminate these concocted ridiculous falsehoods because of the disaffection and other negative effects on the polity. I wish the president quick recovery.
That's it on the mail segment for today. Keep sending your mails to politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Bust it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the RAPA FM network. RAPA FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's RAPA Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Of course, we start with the Constitution Amendment on Wednesday at the floor of the Senate. Devolution of power that would have seen certain items moved away from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent list. The exclusive list is a list that contains areas only the federal government can legislate and act on. The recommendation by the committee on constitutional amendment was that some of these items be moved to the concurrent, where both the states and the federal government can legislate on to, of course, kickstart the process of devolution of powers. But indeed, it was rejected. Of course, the senators needed at least 73 persons to vote yes before any amendment can take place, can sail through. 73 meaning 2/3 of the number of senators that we have in Nigeria. Of course, for the women, it was a not very good development. Two bills there. One, affirmative action, 35% to be included in the constitution, and the second, the issue of giving women the option of either using their state of origin or the state they are married to for the purposes of employment and appointment. But the male-dominated Senate said no to that move. And of course, we are being joined now by someone who has been working on the issues of women's rights. Sadatu Madi of WRAPA. WRAPA is Women's Rights Advancement and Protection Alternative. Thank you so much for joining us on Political Platform.
Thank you. How are you?
Very well. How did you receive the development at the Senate yesterday?
It was disappointing is an understatement. My thinking is that 2017 is a year that should have shown the progress we have made since 1999. The issue of affirmative action as a principle has been debated over and over in this country. It has also come to be accepted that affirmative action is legitimate, and it has been done in other sections and in other matters of this country. Now, why do you ask for affirmative action? You ask for it to correct an ill or a gap that exists in the governance or the development of a country. In this case, we are asking for affirmative action in appointive and elective positions. We have been confronted with arguments that elective positions are the purview of political parties. As such, the extent to which rules be made is limited. But we went that good governance is a total of people that are concerned.
If you can adjust a bit to have improved the network, your output here is a bit shaky.
Come again?
Okay, go ahead now.
Okay. I'm saying that the votes for appointed positions is not enough. We need both appointed and elective positions. Yes, political parties have the upper hand determining who to nominate for offices. But we believe that if the National Assembly legislates and takes positions that to correct the imbalance, development balance in our legislation for the governance of the country is to be corrected. Affirmative action, even if it were with a timeline or a moratorium, needs to happen. So we are thoroughly disappointed. We thought we have progressed as a nation, but the evidence is saying no. We also will not deter, will continue to agitate and also to negotiate and advocate for a shift from this position. The world has left Nigeria behind in terms of the role of women. Nigerian women have proved, and I don't want to believe that this is something of SPM, not even a deliberate attempt to exclude half of the nation from development.
Actually, let's look at some other African countries where affirmative action is now part of their law. Yes. What has been the experience in those countries, South Africa and the like, even some smaller countries that are some countries that are smaller than Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya, and the like.
Namibia. Kenya and Uganda and we are not even talking of, like you said, other African countries. We find it difficult to understand why the giant in the sun is not copying, or rather being copied. Rather, we are following them as a matter of lagging. These countries have moved forward. God forbid, they keep saying that some of these countries have had bad experiences, and that is why women have used. We are not praying for any bad experience that puts women in the forefront, but it has come to us. Today, if you look at places such as the Northeast, you find that more women are household heads today. And if you do not make room for them to earn a living, to earn decency and dignity, it means the families they are leading will also remain in.
Now let me ask this question, Hajia. We have more women voters in all the elections. Why can't we have elections in which women candidates will be, tabled for election? And then you also know that if we have more women in the parliament, this voting yesterday would have gone in favor of the women. What is your organization and others doing about that?
The first thing we are doing again is looking at a legal framework. We have been advocating for the Gender Equal Opportunities Bill, which has failed to sail through for many, many reasons. Right now, we are at the stage where we are negotiating some of those provisions that are not going to hurt, as it were. But the principal thing is what you see. More women in parliament, more women in governance and appointed positions will make a difference. Yes.
So what's the next step for women's rights activists? What are the options now that the Senate has said no to this latest push?
Well, the first thing is we need to keep organizing and organizing stronger so that we keep engaging. Engagement has to be our only way. Protest, yes, we will continue to protest as much as the laws of the land agree, but we will continue to engage, and women have to make a statement about this. And one of the ways we can make a statement is in the election. everybody understands, or rather, we all know the votes that women bring to politics. We've got to begin to negotiate hard and to also tell political parties it cannot continue this way.
Okay. Thank you.
The second thing we will continue doing is we'll continue to educate our daughters and sons who are coming behind us to know that the terrain is not going to be easy. They have to take a position where they are seen as a unit of men and women, boys and girls. Because right now, the vision is we are men different and women different in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sadatu Madi, for joining us on Political Platform.
Thank you for giving us.
Of course, the women there, not too good for them. Uju and Ijama, you want to add something?
Amechi is certainly not good for the women. I believe that the action of the Senate yesterday has set this country back by some years. Because if you look at the Beijing, affirmative agreement for affirmative 35% affirmative action, that was how many years ago?
1995.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it had already been agreed and is being implemented in several countries of the world. If you go to the international legislative fora, you see the number of women that are speakers. The one currently going on in Abuja right now, the Commonwealth Africa Regional Conference, you see a lot of women speakers. Namibia, Kenya, Cameroon, the deputy speaker, several countries of Africa, they have female speakers. And we're talking of Nigeria. Even the one attempted by a woman to be a speaker, she was kicked out on all kinds of trumped up charges that the House later recanted. I mean, for God's sake, it's not helping us. I'm not saying, look, just give it to women on the platter of gold, but any woman who is deserving, any woman who merits it, let her have it. Political parties are most guilty of even what is happening. I had somebody say, why don't women come out since women are more the voters? Is it not when you get the ticket from your party? A lot of the parties discriminate against women. They don't even give the women the chance.
I think the second amendment that concerns women that did not sail through would have allowed women to seek for appointments or stand for elections based on their original state of origin or where they were married to. I think we have even started to adapt that. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and even former President Goodluck Jonathan did it. The likes of Okonjo-Iweala represented her state of origin even when she was married to. These are things presidents or governors who have even the power to appoint can put into effect without having it entrenched on our constitution.
Amechi, there is no way a man can stand fully without a woman. No, a woman is the backbone of a man. And if they have sat down together and took a decision yesterday on the fate of a woman in order not to legalize the affirmative action, then that means there's problem. We are still living in the archaic age when our men still believes that the place of the woman is in the kitchen. It is not so. We have very competent women. Very, very. This 8th Assembly, I do not want to say it's a disappointment. No, I don't want to say that.
It's a disappointment.
But I can't imagine at this time and age in this world when people are pushing for their daughters to become some people that are very, very prominent in the society. Today, you see daughters are even lifting their families up with names and everything. Very intelligent women are in the society, and yet the National Assembly, the lawmakers, did not find it fit to make it a legalized matter.
You know that we have very lazy governors, and by failing to pass that yesterday, we are going to make them more lazy. The laid-back attitude will be there, waiting for the federal coffers to continue to give them oil money. Even with commercial potentials in their state, they are not able to raise their internally generated revenue. Look around. What are the governors doing? They are spending local government money, appointing caretaker committee, no election in the local government, when we still sustain the position of second to India in the maternal and child mortality, that a child born in war-torn Afghanistan can survive than a child beyond 5 years than a child born in Nigeria. The truth of the matter is there are so many things the state governors in Nigeria can do without even the constitutional amendment? Have they even done the basic things in their state? No, you are talking about poverty. You are talking about, beggars in the street, children out of school, either going out as almajiris, beggars, or sending male children to the spare parts shop. It's quite unfortunate. And let me tell you one thing. The inability of the state governors to do the right thing has increased the number of crimes in the country. Drug traffickers being arrested, armed robbers, kidnappers. Well, what kind of next generation are we breeding? If they make any arrest and you look at the age brackets of those they arrested are virtually young people, and the older people are dying. Let me tell you what's happening in Japan and Germany. 60-70% of the working population are over 60 and 70, and then their women are not even giving birth now. The pill thing. And as a result, Germany was so happy to bring in the Syrian refugees, especially the professionals, to fill in the job gap.
Okay, let's allow Adebayo Bodure to, of course, weigh in on the issue of devolution of powers.
I think my worry is that we are postponing the evil day. Because that's the way I look at it. A situation where every road, even local roads that are supposed to be constructed by local government, will be declared as federal road. We want federal presence everywhere. Then what is the existence of a three-tier government system we have in the country? We are asking that more power be given. What stops Lagos State government, for instance, as far back as Second Republic, conceived the idea of having a monorail system? They have to get permission from the federal government and approval from federal government before they could do it. And this is the system that our Senate wants to continue, that powers cannot be devolved. So much power at the center and less power at the federating unit. I think it's not healthy for us on the long. It will not be healthy for us on the long run.
Amici, the irony of this is that this is one of the core issues, for several of the agitations that we're having in this country. And this may also go a long way to underscore why some people believe that the National Assembly cannot kickstart the process of restructuring in this country, that they need an independent body to do so. They've only succeeded in giving vent to those people who think they're incompetent.
Amici, I still feel that the politicians who sat yesterday in that National Assembly did not do a selfless service to Nigeria for most of the decisions they took yesterday. They were selfish. They were thinking about their future. They want to become governors. They want to become president of Nigeria.
Selfish, maybe if you consider from that point that they took away powers from the executive and enhanced the powers of the legislature, but they always tell you this is, of course, the standards across the world. But the debate will continue. The House is expected to vote today. Tomorrow we shall also, of course, be bringing in persons to offer their perspectives on the actions taken in the National Assembly. On behalf of the crew, my name is Amechi Anokwe. Have a wonderful day, and let's see again on Friday.
Busted.